G'day. There you go. Just a little bit of a warning that I wanted to talk about my name's Steve, and this is Whitesnake's Shooting the Breeze with Whitesnake, and this is about my mental health, and it's about mental health in general. And I was trying to work out how to put this how to talk about this subject um, in a bit of a professional way, a bit of a way of not me getting upset about it, not getting me getting angry about it or anything like that. And then I went through because I've got a blog. It's called Whitesnake Bites, and I used to write a lot of stories, poetry, and things like that. Um, and I used to talk about what was going on in my life, and especially my mental health, and my depression, and my PTSD, and things like that. And it was sort of like a good relief, but I haven't been doing it for a long time. Um, Mainly because of my tremors, because like typing in and shit like that, it's a bit difficult. But what I did discover was I found something I'd written back in 2015, and it was just after I'd been put off work, and I was getting seeing a therapist, um, one of those cognitive behavioural psychologist, basically, I suppose, and counsellor. Right, so let's get something straight. If you don't want to listen to this, then turn it off. If you feel uncomfortable about anything I'm talking about, I mean, remember, this is about me. This is what I was thinking back then, and you'll find out as you go. But if you find it uncomfortable, switch it off. I mean, I'm not going to know anyway, am I? And it doesn't matter. But if you find something in this that will help you, uh, then it was worth it. I'm doing this because I need to get this off my chest. Um, I've been seeing psychologists and all the rest of it for a very long time. Well, since my first marriage breakup, which was in 1998, 99, somewhere around there. So it's fucking a quarter of a century. So yeah. Anyway, this is what I wrote, and I'm going to read it. Now, I'm not going to keep being able to look at the camera because so you're just going to have to put up with me and my fantastic voice. But here we go. I was asked what I wanted out of the CBT I'm receiving. So, I was in therapy, and they asked me what I expected out of it. My reply was to be pensioned off and left alone. I was told that ain't going to happen. That was my first meeting on the first day of CBT. I should have known then and there that this person was not the right fit to help me. However, as I've always done, I gave it another chance, all to no avail. See, if you get in therapy and the therapist is not gelling with who you are, say something, because you need to get people who gel with you. I asked to get another therapist. Well, there you go. Anxiety is different for everyone, and each of us that suffer need to be treated as individuals. Unfortunately, most of the so-called masters of behaviour believe in treating everyone equal. So they put you all in the same boat. Everybody's different. Everybody needs something different. A lot of people are the same, but people are different. Being pensioned off and left alone is not being antisocial. It's about having no tolerance of drama and fake people. I have no trust in people, especially those who have control over my life. Does it sound familiar? We're talking, this is back in 2015, before COVID. And I still have the same issues. I still get pissed off with people who have control over your life, like police, government. WINS. WINS, by the way, is in New Zealand is Work and Income New Zealand, which is like where you go for your benefits, your pensions and all that sort of thing. It's one of those things. I've spent most of my life being threatened and intimidated by others, not in a demanding way, but in a very subtle way. Religion has a lot to do with it. Being threatened with an eternity in a fire-burning place. If you don't do this or by someone who loves you, right? Let's try that again. Religion has a lot to do with it, and being threatened with an eternity in a fire-burning place. If you don't do this or that by someone who loves you, doesn't make sense anymore. So when I was growing up, we were born Catholics. Well, we were special Catholics. We were Roman Catholics. They're a special breed. And my old man was a fanatic anyway. Well, speaking of which, here he comes. My father was always controlling, and he wasn't a big man. As a matter of fact, I could have flattened him if I'd had the courage, but I was brought up to honour the mother and the father. Even when I was working for $3 a week, I was expected to give him a third. When I joined the Navy, he expected me to send home a third of my wages to keep my room open. 6 kids in a 3-bedroom home. Yeah, right. That is how it was. And that was me growing up. Moving out and getting married for the first time was my way of getting out. But I developed some of my father's habits, which I hated, and spent a lot of time watching what I said and did. You ask any of us boys and family, I've got 5 brothers and 1 sister. You tell my brothers that you're just like your dad. Fuck, shit hits the fan. After the first marriage failed, she ran off with an ex of hers. The lies started to come out, and I just kept my mouth shut. Oddly, my youngest brothers stood by me while my sister and the next eldest took a dim view of things. My second marriage was almost a repeat of the first. She was very manipulative and very shrewd. Now, that's not to say that they were to blame fully, because it takes 2 to tango, right? So I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying that there was a lot of things said that shouldn't have been said, that weren't true. Right, where are we at? Right. It is challenging to put into words how 1 minute you are in control and the next you are caught in a downward spiral. Sitting here trying to think of an example of what happened is just disheartening. The first wife didn't want me writing stories and poetry. My second wife encouraged it until she wanted it all to revolve around her. It was during the second marriage that I suffered the work injury. So I've always been able to write and all the rest of it, and write poetry, and my first wife didn't like me doing it. And my second wife, because I started writing, if it wasn't about her, she didn't, a bit dodgy. But that was stifling my creativity. Well, having an injury that no one can see, and having employers who were insensitive did not help my cause. It was here that I realised I had major anxiety issues. I was always looking over my shoulder, dotting I's and crossing the T's, watching everything, trying to make sure I didn't make a mistake. Of course, the employer went to great lengths to prod and poke, setting tasks that I couldn't do, and then accusing me of refusing to do this or that. I know for some of you that'll sound pretty familiar. It's actually, there's a word for it called constructive dismissal. That's what they try and do. I was fortunate to have a wonderful group of doctors, psychologists, etc. around me. This is when I had my injury, who did what they could to protect me from the demons outside. Finally, I was offered a chance to get out, and I took it, although I have to say my employer made no effort to keep me. After about 4 years on work cover, I was given a payout and decided to get away from it by heading to New Zealand. The second wife had come from New Zealand, and although I offered to move there in the first instance, she didn't want me to. So now we moved back, and because what happened was I met her on the internet. She moved over to Australia. I said I'd come over to New Zealand and live in New Zealand, but she said no. She wanted to come over. And then we moved back. Right. Where was I? So we moved back, and she seemed, when we moved back, she seemed very grateful. Our agreement was that she would get a full-time work and I would do part-time work due to my injury. Sounds fair to them. Weeks, then months went past as I watched my money, that was the payout money, dwindle. I kept asking her what was going on, but was told jobs were scarce. I decided that I had to get a job and found out one in security. Over a period of time, I found out that my second wife had been telling everyone that I did not want her to work and that I had been treating her badly. Ooh, the truth comes out. It's true. You know, her best friend ended up telling me. Oh, but she said you don't want to work. Anyway, it's in the past, so but this is how it was back then, right? It was at this time I rekindled a relationship with my third wife. We were just friends, but we spent more and more time together. We found solace in each other's in each other's company. We both decided we need to get out of our current relationships and took that step, which was we have never regretted. So, you meet somebody, they got the same problems as you talk about it, they seem to understand, and then all of a sudden you say, right, need to get away. Where were we? We both decided we needed to get out of our current relationships, and Karen was in the same she was in a controlling relationship, but that's not for here. That's for her to tell you that story. Of course, we lost most of our friends and family because of it, and we had to tolerate all the lies, etc., that came of it. 5 years on, I am still happy with the relationship. Suffice to say, more happy. So you're talking 5 years. So we got together in September 23rd, 2009. So 5 years after that, so 2014. Yeah, so I wrote this in 2015. On the work front, there were gaps starting to open up. I had to put up with being spat at, spewed at, shot at, stabbed, abused, made fun of by shoplifters, thieves, thugs, and gang members. Right, the shot at one was, it was a shot. It wasn't aimed at me, though. I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it was near me. It wasn't. I wasn't exactly. It was not life-threatening. It was just somebody fired a gun and I was in the vicinity, so it wasn't any major thing. Once more, I was having to watch my back and tread carefully. However, having nearly suffered a fractured skull, I started to question whether security was right for me. Along came an offer to work in a supermarket as a security officer, which I thought would be not as stressful. How wrong can I be? Yeah, what happened was a gang member came into a mall and he was being abusive to the staff that are at the visitors desk. In malls you have an information centre. He came in, he was on drugs, abusive and all the rest of it. And we asked him to leave and he got all violent and all the rest of it, and started throwing his weight around. So we moved him out. We tried to move him out the door, and he took a swing and hit me on the back of the head, and my head went into the floor. And I nearly suffered a fractured skull. So that was that. The head of security, and this is in the supermarket. A local supermarket here in New Zealand. The head of security was an ex-police officer who was more interested in catching shoplifters than preventing shoplifting. He would trespass kids who stole a bar of chocolate or who ate nuts that they had taken from the self-serve. Staff would be forced staff would be forced to reimburse the store if the tills were out, and all of a sudden my performance and professionalism was questioned. I was transferred to the produce area where I found out that I had been deliberately moved out of security because another employee could move in. I received 2 warnings that I didn't deserve, and were later torn up once I had been mistreated by the very people who were. Let's see if I can get this right. I received 2 warnings. that I didn't deserve, and they were later torn up. But once I had been mistreated by the very people that should be protective, even the HR manager, I decided it was time to leave. I left and moved on to a building store, like the Home Depot, or I don't know what it's called in England. The store where the tradespeople go and you go in to get all your hardware stuff. You do it in DIY store. DIY store, yeah. I left and moved to a building store, once more in a security role. It was more of a place that was was covered in floss, but underneath had mismanagement written all over it. I would ask for camera footage of certain things and would be told that the camera was down or that it was broken. I reported incidents and they too were ignored. Employees would be missing pay and on many occasions be abused by customers and senior staff members. I often assisted in employees writing professional letters of complaint, which didn't go down too well with senior management. You see where this is going? Well, it's all right. We've only got 2 more pages to go. I'll try and be as quick as I can. On two occasions, I reported a manager for bullying. Nothing was done. It was just after I received an email relating to charges of distributing anti-religious material and using abusive language towards a staff member. I denied all charges. However, my word was totally ignored. The next day I was sick, and after attending the doctors, I was advised to leave for medical reasons, which I did. So what happened was I was accused of a lot of it never happened. The distributing anti-religious material was I saw a cartoon and I thought it was funny, so I pointed it out to somebody. And apparently that's distribution, pointing it out. Anyway, so I decided, what happened was I got in the car. I got Karen to come and I was feeling sick. Got Karen to come and pick me up, and because I don't drive, she picked me up. I got in the car, collapsed. She took me home. She says I was as white as a ghost. And when I finally got to the doctor said, "No, you're fucked. That's it." And he said it's constructive dismissal, where they keep annoying you, give you jobs that you can't micromanage you, and all the rest of it. And you get to the stage where you can't take it anymore. So you either get sick and you leave, or you leave. So it's called constructive dismissal. Yeah. I can tell this is winding me up because I'm shaking more. Right. Now this is where we go. Right, so I've left the job. The doctor said you can't work anymore. Go and get on a benefit. Next stop was WINZ. Like I said, Work Income New Zealand, and it's like where you go for your benefits to get some financial assistance. What a drama that was. We had taken everything we were supposed to, but the incompetence of the staff was unbelievable. We ended up waiting 6 weeks for any payment. See, we're the sorts of people that we get all our information of what we need to bring, and all the rest of it. Organise it up. You need identification, you need your birth certificate, your passport, you need this, you need that, you need a copy of where you live, a bill or something like that, marriage certificate, all those sorts of things. Karen is very good at organising that stuff. So that's what she did. And so we took it all in, and the guy couldn't even... Let's just calm down, right? So we taken everything we were supposed to, but the incompetence of the staff member was unbelievable. So, like I said, we ended up 6 weeks before any payment. Even just going to WINZ for appointments is distressing. I go to the toilet like a kid who has had his first curry. Yeah, it's true. You go in there. Okay. We were dressed up to the... We were dressed nice, neat, tidy. You go in there... Kids run around as though they live there. People in their pyjamas. Right. Let's calm down again. We originally had planned to use my Kiwi Saver, which is superannuation, where you put money away and they do investments and all the rest of it, and it builds up. Supposed to build up. So that when you retire, you've got a nice little nest egg. That's Kiwi Saver. Right, we originally had planned to use my Kiwi Saver instead of Wins. But we weren't allowed to. It was the undimensioned pressure one feels that need. It is the undimensioned pressure one needs. The need to get better and find a job. But also, having suffered from anxiety for so long, getting better has taken more time. I am in no rush to return to workforce, as right now I'm sleeping better and I am content. The mere thought of returning to the workplace is daunting, not only because of the mental scarring, but the physical disabilities such as the muscular spasms, the constant hand tremors, the difficulty in writing, picking up and dropping things, and the endless stares or questions. Then there is the medication that has varying effects on my body. Each time I have had anxiety, I've either gone back to work too soon or forced to go back to work by the powers that be. It is no wonder I struggle with it. By the time I realise I'm suffering it, it's too late. That's suffering from anxiety. They keep saying, I've gone past it. They keep saying, when you start feeling anxious, when I realise that I'm feeling anxious, it's too fucking late. I'm at the max. Right, where are we up to? Then there are the dreams, the real dreams that torment you, bringing back the angst of what has gone before. The dreams caused by medication, bringing back the memories and the pain and the anger that have passed. They also bring in things that I have no association with. The dreams are vivid and so real, I've woken up actually being part of what I have dreamt, thinking that was part of some of the medication I was on. I fear being forced to do something that I'm not ready for or wanting to do. And I am not talking about faking it. I'm talking about honesty, being ready. For too long, as I have faced my anxiety, I've either gone back too soon, or of my own accord, or been forced to go back too soon. It is being forced or thought. It is being forced or the thought or thinking of being forced I need to overcome. So often I have fallen into the it's okay, we'll look after you. Our only interested is your welfare, etc. It's all been bullshit, so why accept it now? I've heard all the talk and all the propaganda and have no faith in the system. Anyway, and hence my problem. I trust no one, and rightly so. So where do I go now? See, it all builds up. It turns people into... It becomes a nightmare. Right? My latest wins appointment took its toll. Even if it was a lot better and the case manager seemed legit, everyone else seemed the same, with very few exceptions. Then there is a new symptom of being anxious, the aftermath. You feel tired, drained, exhausted to the point of being numb. You just want to sleep, but sleep won't come. Your mind starts dashing here, there, thinking this and that. It never stops. Even when one gets to sleep, the dreams come and the sweating begins. Then there's the anger of being forced to go back into a place that hurt you, a place that caused some of the problems you face, a place that could lead you to doing something you may regret and embarrass your family. If I behaved the way those around me behave, I would be locked up. Whilst driving in a car park, a car cut in front of us, nearly causing an accident. While we cannot do anything about what others do, it is our lives being put in the hands of others. And of course, they don't care. Well, that was the end of that. And that was back in 2015. 2015. 2015? Yeah. See? Knocks you about a bit. And since then, it's been worse. Things. There's a lot. That's only the tip of the iceberg. What I've been through since then. I've had Well, obviously, there's COVID. We've all been through COVID, and we all know what damage that does to you. The mental strain on that. You can't do this, you can't do that. Been forced this, forced that. I had my brother die. Right, let's just go through it. 2020, New Year's Eve, brother passed away, cancer. 2021, 6 months after my brother died, my best mate died, cancer. 6 months after that, his dad, who treated me like his own son, died. I don't know what he died of, probably old age or something like that. Then, what was it, last Christmas, a mate of mine from school, a good mate, we kept in contact, but wasn't the best mate, but it was a good mate, especially from school. Died 2 weeks before Christmas, cancer. Christmas Day, an ex-girlfriend died from brain cancer, who I kept in contact with. And that's not counting all the other bits and pieces that go on. So I've had a bit of a rough time. And that's it. So that's my little life story. Quick one, anyway. So I kept trying to see counsellors. This is the one thing that annoys me a lot, is they say, "Oh, mental health is a big problem. You need to do something about it." Yeah, in New Zealand, and I can only talk about New Zealand. Try and get help. For men, it's a joke. Six sessions you can get. 6 sessions. Yeah. Anyway, that's my story. Now, there's people out there that are a lot worse than I am. I have no doubt about it. But you got to talk about it. Don't do anything stupid. Have I thought about it? One of the things that I'm seeing a therapist at the moment, a psychologist at the moment, and I've got 2 sessions left, and I can. He reckons he can squeeze a couple more sessions out. So we'll see how that goes. But we've only just scratched the surface. 4 sessions. He's only just got to know me. 4 sessions. We've got 2 to go. What the fuck is all that about? They're not really serious about mental health. Fortunately, my wife is seeking help from something that happened in a previous marriage. It's up to her to talk about that, but I can go in there and get some help as part of family. So she's on her one. She's got unlimited support, and I can get it because I'm her husband. So the family, they can take care of the family as well. So when this finishes, I'll get some more. I deal with it pretty well, I reckon, considering. It's just sometimes it does my head in. It really does. But then I've got you lot, haven't I, to whinge and moan about. So maybe that's not a bad thing. Anyway, that's me, done my mental health thing. If you watch through it, I'll be interested to hear, what you guys go through. Don't be ashamed to talk to somebody about it. If you're feeling down, get hold of somebody you trust and have a chat with them. A couple of beers or something. Well, they say you shouldn't have a drink, but sometimes I reckon you need it. Ugh. I picked the wrong year to give up drinking. And that's a funny thing too. They said to me, if you give up drinking, you'll feel so much better. Now, honestly, I don't feel any different. I stay up longer. I eat more. I've put on 7 kilos. 7 kilos since I've given up drinking. Yeah, I wonder if it's worth it. Anyway, I hope that's explained what I've been through. And there's a lot more. There was the sexual abuse when I was 19. and nobody in my family knows about it. And it wasn't a family member, so they don't have to worry. And I only told Karen recently, sort of, about it because it came up. But maybe that's for another day. I'm not going to say like, subscribe, and comment. Well, I just did, didn't I? It doesn't matter. Just, if you're suffering mentally, talk to people that you know. You know, you can always have a chat with me. There's always Facebook. There's always Twitter. We can always FaceTime or something like that. Can have a chat if you really need to. Other than that, I think I'll leave it at that because it's what's that? Half an hour. Shit. Jeez, I can ramble on. Anyway, just take care of yourselves. If you're struggling, talk to somebody. Find somebody and talk to them. You're not alone. You'll actually be surprised how many people will sit there and go, I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, so that's it. Until next time, thank you for watching Shooting the Breeze with Whitesnake. I'm sorry it was such a depressing subject, but I've got it off my chest. And you've got an insight into what I'm like and why I'm like I am, and what I've been through. Anyway, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.